So,
3.
oh, we're live. Nice. Hello, everyone. And today we're going to do a show on sort of like how the Earth is being used to harvest energy. And this is the second time we do this. Last time it took us hours to even get online. So, Nyssa, do you want to introduce yourself?
Hi. Should I go first?
If you want. Or I'll go
Well,
if you're nervous.
no, it's fine. My name's Nyssa, and I'm admin on Sarah's page. Respect and admire all of her work. I've had very interesting experiences in my own life, and hoping that expressing these different perspectives will help others to do the same. Ben?
Hi, I'm Ben. I live in North Yorkshire. From South Yorkshire. I were kind of a project child, I suppose you could call it. But my mum has no recollection of it. But my dad's Austrian, and his mum worked in communications for Hitler. And when we were kids, we used to go to Germany and Austria a lot. And I just had memories of going to schools without my mum and going underneath the schools where they had technology and shit that didn't exist in that day and age. It was as though it were like from a different timeline, but it were just under the school. And that's a little bit on an intro of me.
I should just add in I'm an ET, so that's just fine. That's my introduction. I said my introduction is that I'm an alien. That's about it. I don't think I can hide that too much anymore.
You can't see my antennas, can you?
Okay, so we've got the subject. Yes, about energy harvesting, and I will let Nyssa go first, so you can start to speak a bit about that. Just to add in, James, can you send me a link to this, please, so I can go post it?
Okay. Well, my understanding of energy harvesting is kind of it's a bit like the film Jupiter's Rising. They show this principle of humanity basically. Well, in that film, it's more their DNA's been harvested, which is also relevant. But it's basically the energy is basically being used by beings who are fallen from what they were supposed to be. So their role, they were supposed to be kind of like supervisors and kind of supervisory and guidance, and they've kind of fallen in frequency. So it's gone from more. They've realised that they can revel in this more sort of seeded kind of energy which they can reap from us, and it's kind of looking down on it. It's kind of like when you go to a carnival or something like that, and you see all these people with these bright lights and these
Way up, we've lost Nessa.
We've lost Nyssa. She should come back on soon. Yes,
okay.
So to continue on until she jumps back on. Energy harvesting is happening because certain beings have cut themselves off from source by their own will so that they cannot stream source energy into them. So what they're doing is they're stealing from humanity, but the energy from humanity is good for a lot of things because it's good to be absorbed and used to go interdimensionally, whereas they wouldn't be able to if they didn't steal the energy. There's a couple of different groups doing this, and there are the fallen angels, the fallen, the creations of the fallen angels after they fell. There's a good couple of different groups that are doing this, and then you have the archons, and the archons, they're sort of like the ones who harvest this sort of energy. I think on Jupiter Ascendant they showed it that fallen beings, have immortality through raping humanity of energy. But it wasn't the only planet on Jupiter Ascendant, and I know this to be true due to my experience that this is not the only planet that was being harvested.
Yeah, well, if you've got an empire, you would do it to other planets, wouldn't you? If you were a galactic empire, I'd imagine.
I do feel though that we've got to the point now where this cycle has been repeating itself for such a long time over so many different solar systems that we've got to the point now where we're at the heart of the matter and we can actually make a difference at this point now because it's been on repeat for so long.
Yeah. Well, I always... Oh, go on. I completely forgot what I was going to say when you started speaking, sorry. Continue. Oh, you want me to continue? I'd say we'd need to pause it.
Nyssa, tell us about the elephant story.
Oh, okay. Sorry, because I can continue on about the harvesting. The previous planet I came from was harvested within the time of what you call, would say, a 24-hour period. It was harvested. Scientists just said there's a sort of a shield around Earth they found. They don't know what it's for. The shield was put a long time ago because Earth was used as an ark planet for all different DNA from different planets. And it was put here in case there was a war. Winded up everything being destroyed on all of the other planets so that this is the last remaining in our system that's inhabited. The previous planet that I was on had a shield similar to Earth but much more powerful. When the shield was broken, when it was infiltrated, it literally was ripped, and then they came in and they harvested everything within a day.
Okay.
They plan on harvesting.
Sorry.
Go ahead.
I was just going to say, can you remember the name of the planet?
No, because we spoke in emotions, and there is no such thing to me as names. Names are quite primitive. Rather, feelings explain the place.
A bit like Venus, then. I always thought Venus was more about
where I would
energy.
come from. It wasn't telepathic. We would speak by pushing emotions to each other. So we would read the emotion from the other. The emotion was encoded with information.
Like what we do in this world, really.
Really, people are very closed off from that. Speaking to me is considered very primitive. I consider speaking very primitive. I often sense people's emotions, and when I do, I can sense anything that's wrong with them. I can see it. It's something magical to be connected in that way, and I think that it's been very hard for me here because, there's so many words, and there's just not many people who even understand their own emotions, much less how to utilize them in such a way it benefits themselves and others, because emotions
and the shit you can do with emotions as well. You can literally write timelines with them. Yeah, you can do all sorts of cool shit with emotions. And your internal organs as well.
Yes, you can move through timelines and everything through emotions. I hopefully in the future we will have technology here that will read emotions, and when they read the emotions they can see the whole blueprint of being. I remember where I come from, if somebody wasn't well, if one of them wasn't well, they would send emotion out, and we would use emotions to heal them.
Nice.
It was quite advanced. I can feel emotions
Yeah.
in things like the crystal. I can feel emotions in different things. I can't feel emotions in plastic or in synthetic things, but I definitely can feel emotions in different, even rocks, stones, things like that. They
Yeah, I
have
felt
a,
rocks. There's a waterfall near where we live, and there's an underground cave system that goes up through it, and they found dead bodies and stuff in it. And I thought I'd go up and have a gander and see what the rocks felt, because it's quite a dark place where I live. It's not really. It's quite nice and beautiful, but there's some people that do dodgy shit. I think they kill animals and dump them in river to dirty energy, and it's like they're doing it unconsciously. Someone's doing it through them because they don't have the intelligence to figure out this sort of stuff. I wouldn't have thought anyway. And what were I saying? Oh yeah. So I went up to this place, and I didn't even know it really existed until I'd gone up there, and I just led my head against the stone for about 5 minutes, and I just took in everything that the stone had and gave the stone whatever it wanted from me. And it told me like this massive story about the history of this little area, and I was so chuffed, but I couldn't vocalize it to explain to someone. But it had seen so much horrible stuff that it couldn't speak about. And I was like, oh, if only people could translate stones so they could grass people in, like with plants grassing murderers in. It would be so funny. But from what you were saying about energy vampires, I know from when I were a kid, I always used to have like beings around me that took my energy whilst I was astral traveling and stuff. And it was like they were sucking the love out of you. And because I knew they were doing it, I went to creatures that I could associate with, because I was watching films when I was a kid with gremlins and critters and aliens and all the scariest shit you can imagine I saw when I was 5. So when I were astral traveling, I went and found the aliens out of Alien, and I said, "Can you teach me how to make my blood poison? But don't let them know that it's poison. They'll take it as though it's love, and then it'll poison them after as like a side effect." I did thought of loads of different things that would help us by using other methods, and I didn't think anything of it until later. And then I've been giving it out so much, just pouring it out and letting it being sucked up by vampires or whoever wants it, see what they can do with it. And if they use it with their own intentions that are not the intentions of love, then it will reverse and it'll mess up in loads of different ways. And I've noticed it with light as well, because people were so hard to detect. Maybe not when we were kids because we could see it already, but when you get used to the hologram, your eyes get used to people's faces, so you don't really see behind them. And when you mix your love and the abused love, it's done something to them where they're like much paler, kind of emperorish, and I think it's more obvious for even sheeple type people to pick up on the types of people that are leeching. And I noticed it with Joanna Summerscales, because when I were a kid, it was almost like it was her that was telling us not to speak out and taking our energy. Because when I saw her on video, I was like, that's the fucking woman that threatened me when I were a kid. Well, there's no proof because it were all just in the head.
I'd rather not name names in the show.
Yeah, I didn't mean
it. That's the best thing to do.
Just delete that one then. Oh, it's live, innit? Shit.
It's not live.
Oh, well. Oh, it's not live? The live thing in the top corner.
Oh, maybe it is live. I don't know.
Anyway. Oh, she's back.
I think I'm getting old notifications or something like that.
That was some
Pardon?
ride.
Hello, welcome back.
Oh, maybe if I keep my mouth shut, they'll keep me on the air.
I'm not seeing any questions or anything. Where are all these questions?
The thing is that
we're not live.
We're just going to do live podcasts each. Are we not live?
No, we are. Of course we are. But we're just not.
I don't even know. Now I'm so confused,
We've just not advertised it, have we? It's good that we haven't advertised it as well, because I've kind of cocked this up. Forgetting shit.
We can fix it up?
Pardon?
I think that I put it on my Facebook so people can see that we're on live, so they can,
You
watch
bastard.
it.
It is
That's alright.
still recording, it just gonna show up later because we start about hour and a half late. And so the link they gave us is went dead. So the recording somewhere. I need to find where the link is. Okay, keep talking.
So we
Okay.
could do this on another day. It doesn't have to be Sundays. Sundays is the worst day for me. It's the busiest day that I have. They say
Then
God
what day
rests on
shall we
Sunday.
choose?
Humans don't.
Ideas on days, guys.
Yeah, just keep going. You're doing fine. And Lisa, tell us about the elephant story you were talking about earlier, and you can leave from there. Yeah, it's fine.
Oh, that was just about psychological conditioning. It was about how in Africa they'll take the baby elephants when they're very susceptible and vulnerable, and they'll chain their ankles up so they can't move. And then as they grow, they will basically make the chains basically frailer or frailer. So when they're adult elephants, they basically have shoelaces around their ankle, but because they remember them being thick chains, they think that they still are the same.
Yeah, when they're
So
conditioning the
basically,
animals, they tied them around a giant tree and then just
yeah,
slowly made the thing that they tied the thing around smaller and smaller until they could tie it around a stick in the ground and they thought that they were pinned there and they'd stay there till they died.
yeah. So that's basically
Yeah, I saw that.
humanity, the way they use that principle in humanity.
They break humanity's hearts and souls enough so that humanity, in the end, won't make a
Gives into
stand
it.
against them.
Yeah. I don't give a shit if I break my heart. I'll still say fuck you to people that are going against what I feel's right.
Okay.
Anyway.
Conditioning, and this is the thing.
Oh,
I was
swearing.
walking around the other day, and I noticed people just, I'm really healthy, and I'm growing, and I noticed how people just here, at least in the United States, a lot of them seem like they're sick in a way. They sort of don't have a glow. They sort of look sad and depressed, and everybody looks like they're worried. And
I'm not so
it's
much
really hard
worried.
for people
I'm
that
sad,
are
but
like
not worried.
conditioned. They've been had so much put on them that they sort of gave in. So they just kind of hang their heads. It's really quite sad.
Mm. Yeah, we need reprogramming bases, but actual bases that reprogram you positively, not
No,
run by people that haven't got a
we
clue.
need healing centers, not babies, but we need healing centers where people
Yeah,
can
that's
be
what I mean by a
reprogrammed and feel
reprogramming
whole.
base. Like to recorrect their brains, because everyone's thinking wrong.
What you do is by correcting the energy flow through the body, it will correct their thinking, and it will correct all of that because the soul is omnipotent. It's got all the information needed. Even if it's healed, it'll heal the body, it'll heal the mind. First, we must heal the energy, the aura energy. We must heal the chakras, soul energy, and then that will stream more creative energy and realign the person and heal the person. To deprogram and reprogram is not the answer. Rather to
I
heal
mean,
from
conditioning
the
people out of the habits that they're in. I'm not just talking about
recondition them.
everyday people. I'm talking about rapers and shit like that. Because sending them to
Lots of them
jail
have
isn't
entities that
solving
are
it.
not human or all sorts of possession. There's all sorts of reasons with
Oh, yeah, and they're not
murders
accounting
and
for it in law or anything either. And they need to start doing that because they fucking do, especially with these mind-controlled assassins, because they're not fucking guilty. And I know the program that they put through people to make them into mind-control assassins. And with some of them, they use a technology, and it's like a black goo chip. It's like a chip that they put in them. And I say black goo because when they gave me one, it was as though it was alive. It wasn't just a technology that had been put in me. It could move. And because it was the military that had put the chip in, pretending to be doctors,
chips are
they
oftentimes
they
empty.
Pardon?
Chips are often have an entity that comes with the chip.
Yeah, well, it was pure rage. It was like a bit like a demon that had been programmed into the technology. And when they put it in me, I was instantly like, I fucking know what you are, because it was kind of like a technology that had been given years and years earlier. Only it's a technology that progresses with you, it advances as you advance. And these ones that they'd made were to keep you in a box and to make it so you were a controllable slave. That's what I read from the technology when they put it in me. And I was like, it's not going to fucking work this way because I've already reprogrammed this technology. So it's just going to have a field day with this one. So whatever programs you've set with these technologies, they are going to start fucking up now that you've influenced, that you've put it in me so my influence can get involved. And when I went to Blackpool, this is when there were a bloke sat across from his missus, sat at a breakfast table, and his face went right up to hers like that, and he was going like, fucking, fucking, fucking. But he was saying it so quietly because there were a lot of people there. It was weird. It was like he was saying it silently, and I could see on her face that she weren't happy. And I thought, right, what can I do? I can't go over there and say, shut the fuck up, treat her nicer, because he'll just belt her when I'm not there. And I know what blokes do. So I thought, right, be centered, and I just put all my energy into myself. It was like I was a 0 point of creation. I just looked at him and thought, what would a grey do? And I fucking tilted my head, and I had this headset on that's connected to a radio through my phone. Not really important, just that I had something in my ear, and I clicked it in my ear and transferred it to him as though I was pressing this chip that the military had given me to turn me into an obedient slave. And it went into him, and it was literally in a face like this, and all of a sudden he just sat back. His head went down like that, and he just lifted it up and just sat there the entire breakfast, didn't say a word. And then there were a woman sat across from me watching me because she could see that what the bloke were doing at the same time, and I just gave her a wink. Went outside after breakfast for a fag, and the lass come out, and she said thank you to me and walks off with a bloke in front. It was like his brain was in like a hypnotic daze, but he needed it. Otherwise, I wouldn't have been able to do it, I don't think. So what they'd done, they'd given me this chip, I imagine, to make me either into someone that would work for the military or someone that could be triggered in the future. But what I'd done is just turned the chip into something that was less war-based and more defence-based. It was just an experiment that I tried, and because I was feeling so buzzing with energy, this will last April, May. I just did it, and it worked. I couldn't believe it.
From what I
That was my
understand,
first bit of magic.
they do have technology that can stop time, and then they can just reprogram you, or they can reprogram you astrally, or they can reprogram you sending you waves. There's a lot. I mean, if they have issues with you, they will put more chips in your body, but then there's also those who are non-human who need chips in their body to help with their human projection. So there's a good deal.
Yeah, and I agreed. Sorry.
Most all chips have entities that are connected to them. So the entity is the one who really monitors you, and it really affects your body functions. So if you're off track or you're going out of track, it can, even from what I know, it can send shocks up into your brain, literal shocks, like electric shocks using.
Yeah, I can imagine it can kill you, or make you kill yourself.
Oh yes.
Yeah, I've heard it. I can.
So when they're done with them, they just essentially terminate them. Can create heart attacks, strokes, anything like that. Even make cancer or stuff like that.
Yeah, well, I think they've got cancer in sprays, like on The Watchmen, where they give people cancer and then blame it on Dr. Manhattan. I think that happens all the time. Of course it does. Ever since Nazis, well, ever since anyone figured out how to carry viruses and bacteria. I imagine the plague was another one, like the Black Death. Some geniuses have figured out some old fucking virus and tried it out.
I think the plague and the death had to do with something with some leak from the lower realms. That's what I think. stuck in the lower and lower realms, just pretty much shoot up anything. Some diseases are connected to them. Think about a disease is able to tap into a frequency. A disease is that. What it is it taps into a frequency. A very, very deadly disease taps into a very low frequency. Does that make sense? That sort of heat the light energy of your body up very quickly. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. So.
Am I the only person? Listen. No.
It does make sense.
Oh, she's drinking a brew. No focus on what's being
They're
said.
they're actually bringing back viruses, old viruses that have been frozen. Not only viruses that have been frozen as the Antarctic is supposedly all melting away. They're bringing those back. Also from asteroids come in, and then they resurrect those viruses.
You have to remember as well that disease and virus thrives in like discordant reality, where it's a dirty setup is prime example for where a virus can thrive. If it's all natural and clean, viruses can't exist. Even if they exist, they can't influence humans. If we're in an environment that doesn't like, I want to say promote, but promote's not the right word.
Yeah, there was
the thing is
so yeah,
that
it's your conditions as well.
Those like us that are higher frequency, if you bring yourself up, then those viruses cannot affect you because you are not compatible. They don't find any sort of what they have to do is they have to latch on to anything that is messing with your aura. So it latch on is onto there, and then sort of gets into your aura and into your system. So if it can't do that, if you've cleared yourself of stuff and that makes you higher vibration, then it really isn't compatible with you. It really can't harm you. It can get people who are closed off because they have so many issues wrong with their aura, so many issues wrong with their chakras, so it can just find any entry point to mess with them. I never have got any viruses. I don't believe that I can, and I believe it's because of the fact, and I've been told this since a child, I believe it's the fact of my frequency. I would have to go and get myself drained really, really bad to be able to
get ill.
Have the yes.
The same with me. When I was younger, my mates were like, "We don't understand you, Ben. You never get ill. We see you almost every day, and you're never ill. All of us get ill." It's like I've just got a good immune system, but it must be something else because I don't really get colds or anything like that either, which is cool. But when I was a kid, I used to test myself. Sorry. I used to. I can't believe I'm saying this. I used to pick crisps up off the floor.
What I'm trying to say about this.
Go on.
This whole virus thing, and so you're right, they're bringing these viruses back, but what they're doing is they're mixing different ones to try to create these super viruses because they're figuring out there's a lot of people becoming immune to them. That's the thing. So they've got to keep restructuring them and re-putting them back out, so that they can go ahead and they would like a virus to wipe out. Well, why do you think they do all these virus movies too? They want that. They're trying to push that.
Trying to into the collective consciousness, right. Big time.
Yes, because then they could massively feed off of everything that was alive here. They would have an energy fest. So initially, what's happening is that there are people they know that it's not going to wipe out, and there's high vibrational people who are working against this. So it's not going how they want. They've tried hard. SARS, they tried really hard with SARS. I looked at that and I kind of laughed. I did some work on that to sort of help out with that, but it was really interesting how they were pushing SARS of how bad it was, and I was like, it's not that bad at all. It's just going to be gone and everybody's going to forget about it. And today, what is SARS? I don't think anybody even really thinks about SARS anymore.
Are you talking about stars in the sky or stars people?
SARS, SARS, it came out, I think it came out
SARS.
years ago. Yes.
Oh, sorry. What were you talking about, stars? I thought you were talking about stars the whole time. I'm like, where's this?
Well, the whole thing is like with AIDS. They're pushing AIDS in Africa, but it's because what they've done is they've lowered the vibration. Okay, well, they lowered the vibration in Africa, so you have all these starving children, starving people. What that of course the virus would start latching on more. Does that make sense? It's latching on to where viruses are latching on to where we're lower in frequency. So wherever the Earth is lower in frequency, or wherever the person's lower in frequency, then these viruses, these lower frequency viruses are literally getting to these people, making these people sick. Does that make sense?
Yeah, and I think that the virus can completely take over the body. Once the vessel's empty of love, you can see it that it's just completely controlled by something different. I thought.
Well, it is really interesting how they quote have these different viruses for the different ethnic groups around the world. But the thing is that you have to think about it too. Whereas one virus is encoded, they've done it. It's encoded so it can affect the DNA of one ethnic group and not or one, what do you call it? Sorry, it's French. One group of people, one country, because everybody's DNAs are different. DNA of Asian people, DNA of French people, it's all different. Um, so essentially, they have to make these viruses so that they're accessing each different DNA and breaking the codes of each different DNA.
Can I just say something quickly before they chuck me off again? I just want to say that there's something called the reason why labs will use white rabbits and white mice and stuff. If you want to interfere, say if you were an ET or some other being that wanted to interfere with the genetics of humanity, the first thing you have to do is strip away the melanin coating of a cell to actually get in and actually fiddle around with it. So the whiter the being, the less the melanin, the more it has been and can be manipulated and can actually get in and fiddle about with the cells, because the melanin protects, the melanin sheath will protect from the meddling and stuff. So it's in their interests to promote racism and to promote the fact of the things we see of basically putting white people first, and that because they're the most they've been the most farmed, if you like, the most manipulated, and they're most susceptible to suggestion as well. And also the accounts of people who have been abducted and stuff, and they say there's like a blue light which will interfere with their brain and their manipulation of their mind. Of mostly been sort of the white race. It seems the stronger the melanin, the stronger the being, the more resilience they have. So it's kind of
yes, and isn't that tied to the sun, melanin? Don't you create melanin or something when you're sun tanning or stuff like that?
Yeah, you do. But
that makes perfect sense. It makes perfect sense. That's what I was saying about the sun burning off entities or stuff like that.
Yeah, they don't want us the sun. They don't want us near the sun. They want to block the sun with
pain in the ass, isn't it,
they don't want us. They don't want the melanin. They want us to be the white lab rats.
Well, like the underground block off the time machine.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I bet, because it weakens our immune system. Obviously, vitamin D.
The Egyptians knew something. They were sun worshippers. They were bathing in the sun, If I think something is trying to mess with my aura, I go and lay in the sun or get tanned from a tanning bed for a couple of minutes, and I can feel it burn off from my aura.
Yeah,
you need the melanin. One time I saw something just like make a noise. I heard it make a like screech noise while it burned off from the light.
Cool.
Yeah, we'll do. We have a very special relationship with the sun.
I'm going to have to sign out. I'm going to have to sign out. I'm going to let you guys continue on. And I definitely will join sometime when we decide a good day, and we can go ahead and continue to speak about all of this stuff. Bye, guys. Have
a nice meal.
Nice end of the show. Bye.
Right.
Okay, guys.
Well, now I think we should.
Should we wrap it up?
Pause it.
Yeah.
Yeah. We should anyway, because I cocked up. It's still going fucking live. It'll be a laugh for people to listen to, won't it, I suppose.
I won't worry, Ben. I kept saying being
But I've no structure of what I was going to say. I was saying it all last night in my head, thinking, what should I say? And I structure it. When I'm not verbalising it, I structure it so well. I'm like, God, I'm clever. And then when it comes to speaking it, I'm like, shit. What were I going to say? And then I'm halfway through speaking it, and I'm like, shit, what were I saying at the beginning of it? I shouldn't have had a joint. I shouldn't have had a joint this morning. I fucking knew it. Anyway, it weren't so bad.
It'll be easy.
So yeah, let's wrap it up.
Yeah,
and I'll see you over on
barely
Facebook.
on there anyway. I kept getting choked off.
I know. Yeah, on this little group chat feed. Nyssa has left the chat. Nyssa has joined the chat. Nyssa has left the chat. It's just going down the fucking screen.
I kept getting choked off. It kept saying that I was rejected from the call.
Yeah, James were telling us secretly, saying, "Yeah, watch this."